What's up, YouTube? So this is my first video. I've been wanting to do a video in regards to boxing as a whole. I've been a boxing fan since I was probably about 7, 8 years old. I think Rocky, for the most part, triggered that. I wouldn't call it a passion, but obviously a loving to the sport. And of course, we had Chavez reigning supreme at that time amongst Iron Mike and a few other boxers that obviously I don't have all of them at the top of my head. But point is, I've been watching boxing for quite some time now. 25 plus years or whatnot. But I like really the state of boxing currently. And I think there's always been a great time in every decade for the last, I would say, 30, 40 years. There's always been like 2, 3, or a handful of boxers that just dominated the sport. Different weight categories, from featherweight to welterweight to middleweight to heavyweight. And I just feel like right now in this particular era, modern era, with technology, with social media, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels to me as if the world revolves around boxing, man. And with all these streaming apps and this war between pay-per-view and the Zone and ESPN and PVC and all that other crazy shit that goes on with boxing, making it a crazier sport to to be part of, making it crazier than it already was or has been by tradition. But I guess, yeah, man, I'm really excited. I'm not really a one boxer per se. Oh, that's, not really. Obviously, I like it when there's a particular boxer that just makes me, gravitate towards my screen and say, hey, I'm going to watch this guy. I want to see what skills he displays, how he goes about, either dominating or breaking down his opponent to the very last compound. And I know there's a lot of boxing channels out there, and I hate to say, but a lot of them are black brothers, and they, not all of them, but there's some that kind of race bait, and it's been bothering me for quite some time because the only reason they don't like this boxer is because they're Mexican or because he's black or whatever the shit may be. And it kind of boils my blood, man, because I'm Mexican. I live here in the States, born and raised. Raised here in Southern Cali, born in Mexico. So I came here when I was really little, 5 or 6 years old. And I grew up on the side of town where, there wasn't that many blacks. I think the blacks were just literally like 2 miles east or west, I should say, of where I grew up. But, obviously I got into hip-hop, knew the culture, and, I got an appreciation for their culture. I wouldn't say that, I know it all. Of course not. That'll be, ignorant on my behalf. But back to boxing, man. I'm kind of going all over the place, and yeah, man, I for me, Muhammad Ali is probably, the greatest boxer. He happens to be black, and I have Joe Frazier somewhere up there, and I'm really happy that Mike Tyson is with us still, because he was fighting in the ring and outside the ring. Human beings and demons alike, you know what I mean? And of course Chavez and Salvador Sanchez and Finito Lopez, and the list goes on. But it just happens so to be that I'm Mexican, and by tradition we've had decent boxers. I wouldn't say that they've been the very best of the best, or they're gods. I wouldn't say that. I just know that by tradition, it may sound kind of weird, but we have decent quality boxers in every decade for the past 50 years. Obviously, from welterweight down, because our physique, our genes don't allow us to, we're not big dudes. So, it's just until recent times that, we have Andy Ruiz. We have Canelo fucking around with Kovalev. And, amongst, Zurdo Ramirez and, stuff like that. So, we're getting some guys that are, Mexicans that are more athletic. They don't box like they used to box before. I guess by tradition, they had us as these fighters that just, went all out, hit but got hit, and, wars and, all bloody. But as of lately, and as of Canelo, I will say, the boxers are getting more technical. Mexican boxers in general are starting to get more technical. They box more. Obviously, the game of the sport is hit and not get hit. I don't know where this whole Mexican style shit came from. I know it was Abel Sanchez and Triple G, but that's another topic for another day. But yeah, man, I guess as of lately, I've been hearing a lot of things in regards to, like Canelo ducking Demetrius and the Charlos and these young lions, and he's running, he's ducking, and a lot of bias shit, a lot of stuff that, logically doesn't make any sense, because it sounds like a lot of whining, it sounds like, you need this man to make bread, like you can't get this shit on your own. That's what it sounds to me like, you know what I mean? And it kind of intertwines with this whole, the current state of boxing. And I like it. I'm really excited. I think that it's one of the best eras. I wouldn't say it's the best, because obviously if you talk to somebody that, was in the 60s, in the 70s, when, Frazier and Ali were, out there, throwing it down. And then the 80s, when you had the Marvin Haglers, the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Tommy Hearns, and, all those great boxers. And then the Chavez, the Medrick Taylors, the Camachos, everybody will have an opinion and say, oh, no, that was the best era or whatever. But this is where we're at. So it's kind of pointless debating on those other eras. But, yeah, I guess I'm kind of going all over the place. I'm just trying to, give my humble opinion as a fan of boxing. I wouldn't, like I said, man, yeah, somebody might post a few comments here as, this guy's just a fanboy, but hopefully I gave enough insight as to how I came to the world of boxing and how much I appreciate it. But yeah, man, these lately I just kind of keep hearing Canelo's name just thrown everywhere, and if he's not responsible for this, he's responsible for that. And if he's not ducking this guy, he's ducking that guy. That guy's too old. This guy's too young. He's too light. That guy is too dark. And he's too heavy for homeboy over here. It's like all these excuses after excuses. And it's like, homeboy just can't get it right. He can't get that right boxer, because it's not a boxer that, a lot of these boxing channels or whatever I don't know what they have with these other boxers where that they get paid sponsorship, but I don't really give a shit. Point is that, it seems like Canelo has a hard time getting the right opponent where he gets credibility. And it's not only here, man. Unfortunately, this shit has been haunting him since he was unknown. Because I've been following him since, I wouldn't say since he was 15, because that's when he debuted it, but I started following him at a very, very young age. I guess somewhere in between his first 5 or 10 fights is when I started watching Canelo, because the name just kind of rang a bell. I had a homeboy when I was a kid, and we used to call him Canelo because he was redhead, and so it was just like, oh, let me check this guy out. So it's been ever since, you know. But this whole Demetrius ducking and Charlo being avoided, like why? I mean, these guys got to get their own motherfucking bread. I mean, they got to go out there and they, you know, fucking fight. I mean, let's not be hypocrite, you know. Let's not be hypocritical about this shit. We know that, you know, if you fight Canelo, you're not gonna get paid $100,000. You're gonna get paid, you know, 5, 10, whatever the millions are. You know, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's not, you know, 100,000 may seem like a lot, but after taxes, after paying trainers, you know, you're left with 30 G's, you know, and then you have to be fighting what, 3-4 times a year. So it's not a mystery, and it's not fucking rocket science that all these Charlos, Andrades, Billy Joe Saunders, they're just, you know, waiting on Canelo. What? So Canelo's gonna be fighting all these guys. Why don't they fight one another? I mean, if they're really about that smoke, about that sport, about, you know, making boxing even bigger around the world, why not fight each other? Case in point, Demetrius always crying that, oh, he doesn't want to fight me, that he doesn't want to, this fool's running for me. All right, if nobody wants to fight you at 160, cut the bullshit, pack up some fucking weight, and move up to the 168. You got Caleb Smith there waiting for you. You got, hey, fight Benavidez. I mean, if you feel like you're that fucking talented to slap the shit out of the whole 160 with one hand, move up a couple weights. Move up a weight. Why? I mean, that's how I know that is the only reason they want to fight Canelo. You know, and then you have all these these boxing pages, you know, just gassing this fool up, like, oh yeah, no, Demetrius will fucking slap the shit out of Canelo. He'll, you know, walk laps around him. Like, really? Like, you gotta be stupid, and you gotta be, your IQ level for boxing has to be, I mean, questionable at this point. For you to say some shit like that, like, oh yeah, he'll just slap the shit out of Canelo, one hand, or the Charlo will just 3-4 rounds and Canelo's done. Like, if that was the case, then, you know, again, they should have done. They should have moved up a weight. If there's nobody to smoke with at 160, go to 168. It's not that far away. I mean, Canelo's going up to 175 against supposedly over the hill fucking Kovalev, a guy that probably gave Andre Ward a run for his money. I haven't really dissected both fights. I've seen highlights. Because I just don't want to get into that controversy. I just know that Andre Ward was a solid fighter, and Kovalev is a destroyer or crusher for that matter, and that's Andy Ruiz. And what I'm saying is just like, these guys are just whining. They're being hypocritical, just like Triple G was hypocritical about that whole Mexican style shit. You know, like, that shit does not exist. From a Mexican born in Mexico, in tune with my heritage, in tune with my roots. You know, even though I've been here most of my life, there's no such thing as a Mexican style. There's a Mexican school of boxing, or a Mexican way of doing certain things, of how you know, move around the ring. You know, your jab, you know, you go for the body, you know, you move your waist, you move your head, and you kind of get, there's a style. It's like Brazilians when they play soccer. We know how Brazilians play soccer. We know how Italians play soccer. Italians are ultra defensive, and you know, they're very disciplined when it comes to defense. And that's why they have 4 world titles. I mean, I'm probably comparing grapes to apples, but I'm just trying to give you guys an example as how to destroy this whole fucking Mexican style shit that I never bought. I don't know where the fuck Abel Sanchez came up with that shit. But it was just all propaganda. It was propaganda to use, obviously, against Canelo, to get Mexican fans more than anything. I don't think they really bothered to cater to any other demographic other than Mexicans. You know, as crazy as it sounds, but they knew what they were doing. They knew that there's a good percentage or a good sector of Mexican fans. And when I say Mexican, I'm not talking about Mexican Americans, Mexicans, and of course we can include them there too, that have this dislike towards Canelo. Well, for whatever reason, I don't know. I mean, Canelo to me, just I look at his skills. I don't look at his physique or the way he looks. No homo. None of that shit. But honestly, he's never struck me anything that will make me say, I dislike this dude. His fucking attitude is shitty. No, quite the contrary. I've just been following the steps he's taken, and I won't be biased. I mean, I know that, Canelo has, fought certain individuals that maybe he shouldn't have fought, but, look at Triple G fighting that dude that he fought last year, that was like, that dude looked like a lightweight, Martirosyan or some shit like that. Slapped the shit out of him. And then, he was calling Canelo for so many years. Canelo was still, a good welter, super welterweight or whatever, the 154s. He could have scratched the 160s, but he was a 154 solid. And he's over here, Canelo's running. That's when all this shit started. He's running, and, he doesn't want to fight me because, true Mexican style and all that dumb shit. And yet Andre Ward put him on blast too. He's like, that motherfucker doesn't want any smoke. He knows what time it is. You know what I mean? He's over there calling Canelo, what's up? He doesn't want to fight you, I'll fight you. I'll go down a couple pounds and, we'll get those hands busy. Nothing. It's crickets chirping. You know what I mean? But people forget shit like that. People forget that, the hypocritical stance from Triple G. Yeah, he has that, gentle talk and, I'm for the sport and, sport, Canelo's bad for the sport and blah, 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 blah. And then boom, he shows his fucking true colors. $100 million deal. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not giving you fucking 10 mil, whatever Abel Sanchez was asking for. Which is karma on his behalf too, for being a fucking vampire for all that time, and all of a sudden Abel Sanchez toned it down and he gives him props and he talks good about Canelo and this and that, well, fuck, you reap what you sow, man. But yeah, man, this whole Demetrius it's really easy, man. I mean, the Canelo doesn't want to fight you. All right, prove a point. You just saw a boxer give Triple G, an older Triple G. Now that we can say. And what people say about Sergey Kovalev and saying, he's done, he's, on his last fucking leg or in the last stage of his career. Honestly, Triple G kind of looked that way in this last fight against Sergey. I mean, he looked bad. His skills are sharp. He could slap the shit out of a lot of these so-called lions still. Catches them with one good punch, and they're going down. And the reason I say that is because even though Triple G struggled and was gassing, I mean, fuck, it looked for a little bit that he was in between two worlds. And when I say that in the world of the living and the world of the dead, because I mean, he was gasping for air, like his soul was fucking flying out of him. And it's dangerous, man. At that age, and somebody, test your physical abilities to that degree, that's dangerous, man. And anyways, but I think overall, I think Triple G beat him. I know that there's a lot of guys that are saying that, Triple G won, and I mean the other dude won, and whatnot. Honestly, I think Triple G won. I mean, you could just see it in the face, it said a lot. The guy fucking had he looked like a raccoon. And Triple G, unfortunately, I think his punishment was at the body because he was hurting. I know his body was hurting because he came out of there and he had his hand like across his chest, like I don't know if he was holding his rope together or but something tells me his body took some punishment, and he looked bad. He looked bad in the sense that his youth is not there. I think it's his age was more prevalent than anything else, and yeah. So why doesn't Demetrius fight Sergey and say, hey, look, I'm gonna fight this guy, and watch, I'm gonna show the world that there's a difference. I'm gonna show the world the level that I'm in. Now, at that point, Demetrius has to be open to biased opinions. At that point, let's just say Demetrius knocks him out in 3 or 4 rounds. Oh, Sergey wasn't the truth. It was just a good night he had with Triple G, but tonight we see his true colors. He's just a tomato can. So Demetrius Andre, I don't know why they call him Andre. In Spanish, it's Andrade, but anyways, yeah, you know, what if he beats him, knocks him out in 3 rounds? So what does that say? Does that say that, you know, it was just a fluke? That he was inspired against Triple G and not against Demetrius? Or does it say that Demetrius is that motherfucking good? Which he could. And honestly, I wouldn't have anything against that, you know? Because we have to think about, you know, a 37-year-old Triple G and a, 31? I don't know what Andre's age is at this point, but he's nowhere past 31, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, man, I mean, I just feel like there's so many ways to go about this. There's so many ways to for these young lions, these Andres, this Charlos, and whoever other, you know, young cats want that smoke, to build their brand, build their name. But you having the name of another, you know, individual, of another, damn, fucking cop scared the shit out of me. The name of another individual, of another man, in your mouth. I mean, it's fucking shady, man. I mean, it's like, you know, what are you gonna say eventually when Canelo says, okay, now I'm gonna slap the shit out of this fool, or I'm gonna fight this guy? You know, it's that time. What then? You know what I mean? Are you gonna be a hypocrite and be like, oh no, you know, thanks for this opportunity, I wanted to fight him and this and that, or are you gonna stick to your guns and say, hey, no, you know, it's that time. Now I'm gonna slap the shit out of you, and after this, you're no more, Canelo, because it's my time. Of course not. You know what I mean? Build your own brand, man. All these, you know, these other boxers, they gotta build their own shit, man. You know, Canelo wasn't having, you know, Miguel Cotto's name, like, oh, I'm a box Miguel Cotto. I want him because, you know, I got what it takes. You know, I'm the new king of, like, nah. You know, he just went about his business. He kept fighting, and, you know, was he catered all these fights? Could be. Does it have to do with his personality, his allegiance to, you know, certain networks, certain promoters? You know, that's not his fault. I mean, hey, he looked out for himself. He made sure that he was gonna align himself with the right people for his brand, his business, his career to flourish. You know, you can't knock him for that. You know, a lot of people will say, nah, well, you know, Canelo's career has always been, you know, it was structured. It was architect. Like, nah, man. You forget this kid was boxing since he was a little kid. You know, you forget that, you know, there was a lot of ups and downs. You know, a lot of things didn't go his way. Like when he lost Mayweather. Honestly, I thought, oh my God, I didn't really put into consideration, you know, the experience, you know, and not to mention Mayweather is just one of those, you know, that you get once in a lifetime, you know, just like the Ali's. And yeah, Mayweather, you know, coming from a Mexican, because for whatever reason they say we don't like these black fighters. I as far as I'm concerned, you know, anyways, it's just that kind of shit, you know. But But yeah, man, I wanted to make this video because, like, I wanted to address a few issues in regards to boxing. And I don't know that I'm going to make a boxing channel. I may not, but I don't have the time. I'm a full-time electrician, so, that's kind of how I pay my bills. But yeah, man, I've been wanting to make a video for a long time now, and then just address some of these, boxing channels. And I'm not going at anybody's throat, or, it's nothing like that. It's just, to me, it's just kind of like unfair, kind of shady that they make it seem like, like there's some kind of racism in boxing. There could be. I'm not saying that there isn't, and more so obviously like for black fighters, because of the culture here and history here in the States. But if you are a different complexion other than you hit certain roadblocks from time to time. You know what I mean? You experience that, and again, growing up here in the States, I've experienced that. But I just kind of wanted to put this out there, and I'm excited for the upcoming fights that we're going to be seeing pretty soon. Obviously Canelo, Kovalev, and the Ruiz, Joshua, and man, I want to see Terrence Crawford, man. I would like to see that guy fight at least twice a year, man. I wish there was a way for, man, that would be a fucking bogus card if I could see him in the same, event as a Canelo fight, and that would be fucking amazing. But I know that that's never gonna happen, and I mean, in a perfect world it would, but I know that there's a lot of business, a lot of politics in between, and but yeah, man, boy Terrence Crawford, man, shit, man, I want to see him out there, man. That guy is fucking the complete boxer. I think there's, at least, I haven't seen any other boxer in recent times with that skill set. And it's just unfortunate that we only get to see him once a year, and not twice or 3 times. But twice, man, that'll be the shit. But with the recent events over with the tragic accident that Errol Spence had, I mean, I don't know. Now I don't see that fight happening. I know that he, thank God he didn't, he wasn't hurt bad, and it could have been all tragic, news for Errol Spence, and I'm just glad that he's okay, that a few scars and bruises, but nothing serious, and I hope he makes a speedy recovery. But I did want to see that fight. I think that fight is 50-50 regardless. I know some people edge Errol, some people edge Crawford. I would like to edge Crawford, but just like Errol, the resumes are a little sketchy. I mean, they're not, you could say the same about both. I'm just being unbiased. I'm not saying that it's, it has nothing to do with them. It just has to do with the fact that, when they're in their prime, there's nobody around, to test them. Kind of like when Pacquiao, reached his prime. The Barreras, the Morales, and then the Marquez was the only one. They robbed him one, they drew one, he lost one, and he won one. But other than that, unfortunately, Pacquiao, or fortunately for him, he came at the latter part of these boxers' careers, more so Barrera and Morales. I think if both Barrera and Pacquiao would have, got there when Morales and Barrera were there in their prime, I don't know, man. I think Pacquiao would have not been what Pacquiao was, but it's not his fault. He's a little younger probably than them, or he reached the States or the boxing world on this side of the world in the later part of their careers. But had he caught them when they were in their prime, like in that Naseem Hamed Barrera era, or that time, I don't know, man. I think Pacquiao would have had a hard time getting out of that division. He was way lighter back then, obviously, but yeah, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these two great fights that are coming like a few weeks away, and yeah, man. If you guys have any comments, positive, negative, if I said some shit that was off the wall or that didn't make any sense, leave some comments. And I wouldn't say to subscribe. You can, because I don't know how many of these videos I'm going to be making. Right now, as you can see, you're kind of looking at my chin, and I'm driving, and I'm hot as fuck because my truck doesn't have AC. It's shot, but I'm trying to do this video because, you know, I just keep, you know, the current state of boxing, to me, is the shit, and I love it, despite, you know, all these, you know, biased opinions or whatever it's going on with them. But yeah, I just, you know, I wanted to put this out there, and if you like this video, of course, hit that thumbs up. I'll probably appreciate it. I will appreciate it. And like I said, if you want to subscribe, feel free. Not sure that I'm gonna be, you know, again, launching a boxing page. I don't even have a name. I just go by my name, and that's that. But I may not. And if you subscribe, I may or may not, you know, upload more videos with, you know, more comments, more opinions, and more you know, more feedback on what I'm seeing in the boxing world, and then, you know, who knows. So, you know, excited for these two mega fights. I'll probably do something like a week prior to each and every fight, meaning the Ruiz and Joshua, and the Kovalev and Canelo respectively fights. So yeah, anyhow, feel free to leave your comments, and have a good night, and I hopefully will see you in the very near future. Peace out.